Welcome to another session of Teams in 20. We are so glad that you've joined our new series. We've got a lot of exciting sessions coming up. Today's session is all about top tips for effective meetings. Let me introduce you to Elena. Elena is also one of our great accessibility champions. So if you've got any accessibility questions, definitely go and follow her on a LinkedIn. And we have not got a lot of time, so I'm going to hand straight over to you, Elena.
Thank you very much, Joe. I'm going to start presenting myself. A pleasure to be with you today. And we're going to be talking about what can we do to make sure that our presentations are very effective. And with that, I'm going to give you my first tip. How am I going to organize myself? Do I want to have presenters? Do I want to have people unmute themselves? Do I want to have the chat available? But if I want to make sure that I have chosen the right features, I need to go to my meeting if I'm the organizer. And in there, I'm going to start clicking the different options that I have. And the meeting options, when you find a menu where you can choose from, and then you make the decisions and go from the best that are going to work for you. You have done that? Okay, perfect. What's the second point that you're going to think about it? I want to make sure that my meeting is engaging. I might think of adding a poll into my meeting, or maybe I want to add an icebreaker so people can start getting to know each other and we can work better for the next fiscal, for instance. So do you know that you can add applications into your meetings? Let me play this walking through video. And I did that for you. You go to the calendar, choose your meeting, and then edit. Going to find all the apps that you have available in there. I have chosen, in this case, the Poly app because I want to make sure that I get a suggestion how my meeting can be improved. And then once I click add, that's it. My app is inside my meeting. Then it's so easy just to choose the different options that you have, the different timings that you have. Maybe you want to make sure that people are following along your presentation and you are sharing some concepts, and you want to launch a poll in the middle of the meeting, or maybe you just want to understand what else can you do for better meetings. Maybe you're starting a new team and you want to understand the way that they would like to start working. Whatever the case is, you can come here and choose the application that is going to work better for you. Once you have added all the features, you can just click save, and that's it. The poll is going to be added into your meeting. That's simple. Okay, you are going now to start creating your content. What am I going to present? Normally we use PowerPoint, but do you know that over 1 billion people in the world experience some form of disability with all the online meetings that we're having and hybrid meetings? We have some of the people that we are talking with a disability, whether we are aware of that or not. So before you send your PowerPoint presentation, run the accessibility checker to make sure your content is easier for people with disabilities to read and edit. And it's very simple. You just go to PowerPoint in the Review tab, and in there you can check and select Accessibility Checker. Once it's there, you're going to have a pane with all the errors that you need to fix. It can sound a little bit difficult, but it's quite straightforward. Just go and have a look at that. If you have any questions in there, you also have a link with all the different concepts to make your life easier. But before you finish your presentation, make sure that you add, as Joe did at the beginning, a housekeeping slide. Each of us, we're going to consume this presentation very different. I always like to include, apart from user PowerPoint Live, because you can click directly on the screen to that link, to share the site where you're going to find all the accessibility features that you can use during a Microsoft Teams meeting, or also for a live event in Teams. Okay, each of us, we are saying that we're very different. Having the chat coming in front of you could be extremely useful when you don't have a moderator and you need to make sure that you are engaging with the people, or maybe you have a conversation. So it's great to have what people are saying. But some of us, we can get distracted so easily. For me, it's better to remove the chat bubbles coming up. Before I started this presentation, what I did, I just went right at the top on the three dots. Then I click in there and found settings. Once I found settings, I chose to remove don't show chat bubbles. So in that case, if I want to see the chat, I'm going to open my chat view, but if not, I can continue with my presentation. Each of us interact different ways. This is a quick one. Some people like to be quite raise a voice or unmute themselves. Some people like to chat on the or write on the chat, but some people like to raise a hand. So maybe you are making sure as a presenter that each of you has a voice and everyone can just choose the feature of raise the hand. And now I love that I can also see the order of each of them and making sure that if we have an order, let's follow that order. So we all feel like we are being listened, or the people are aware that we're the first that we wanted to make a comment. We have a chat, and again, some people are like to talk a lot in the chat, but sometimes we share things that could be very, very important to everyone. And it's difficult to find that piece of information if you have to scroll up and down to find in the middle of thank you or emojis, something that is going to be very relevant for us and that we need to refer back. Why not pinning that message? You can do it. If you go into the message that you want to pin, you can click on the three dots right at the top, same where you find the icons. And in there, you're going to have the option to pin that message. Once you pin that message, it's going to appear the message right at the top. So it's easy for people to find that important message and refer back to it. Another tip, we were talking that a lot of people with disabilities, but we are talking also that each of us were completely different. If you're using PowerPoint, why don't you use PowerPoint Live when you're presenting in a meeting? Why? Because it allows everyone in the meeting to follow along at their own pace with personalized settings. That's why today I wanted you to use PowerPoint Live, but it also allows screen readers to access the content and the slides, something that is not possible through a simple screen share. So let me play this little video. And if you go right at the top where the share icon is, click in there, you're going to scroll down and you're going to find PowerPoint Live. Choose the deck that you want to share. You can also, as I did at the beginning, from my PowerPoint, I have an icon set share in Teams. Whichever you prefer, you can do it. But this is the view of the presenter. So that's exactly what I'm saying now. I have my slides. I have on the right-hand side my notes if I want to have them. At the bottom, I have all the different slides. Also, I have the opportunity to use the pointer or to use a highlight or to write something, whatever I need to do to make sure my audience is following me. But also sometimes when we're having a presentation, the flow of the presentation can change. And maybe your next slide is not going to be relevant. You can also go without interfering your presentation and go and scroll the different slides that you have and bring in front of you the one that is relevant. Also, if I want to remove the notes, I can have more space in my screen, but I can also change the contrast, again, for my own consumption. I can also bring the chat on the right-hand side. So if I don't have a moderator, I can keep an eye on the chat. Whatever the people are saying, I can make sure that I don't miss those questions. So that's the presenter's view. But also, what about the audience view? It's a little bit different than the presenter. Well, it's really different than the presenter. Excuse me. And I'm going to show you in a bit. This is exactly what the audience like you can see the presentation. You can also remove the videos if you don't want to see it. Go to the view. This is available outside PowerPoint Live. And if you want, you can choose focus on content. Sometimes we have screens that can be quite small and you cannot see everything. So if you choose to do that, just choose the view that is better for you. You can also magnify the part of the slide that you prefer. That's a feature that I was expecting a lot. Sometimes I don't see a lot of the information that is included in the slide, and I prefer to increase that size to make sure that I am understanding the background. But I can also change the language of the whole deck without interfering with the presenter. Yes, now that whole deck is in Spanish. So each person can choose the language that they want to have that presentation. And because each of us, we're going to choose what is better for us, we're going to be more present, and we are going to have more focus on the presentation. We have also a chat window that is great to have in the meeting, but sometimes we create tables to make sure that we are capturing all the concepts that we are discussing. But it's difficult to keep track or to assign tasks or to make sure that we have follow-up if we just create a message and then someone has to reply on it, and sometimes we just get lost. Would it be great to have a place in that chat window where everyone can co-author and include their actions or remove or make comments? Well, you can do it with Loop Components. Yes, you can do it in your chat window. And what is Loop Components? Well, they are portable, editable pieces of content that stays in sync across all the places they are shared. Yes, if you have created that a loop component in your meeting, you can then send it to someone else in Outlook, and everything is going to be in sync. But also, if you want to add more people, you can do it. You can also record your meetings. You know that, but sometimes we record it and we want to have your specific information in there. Let me show you what I mean. I'm getting the link from my recording, and I want to make sure that I share it with my team because that recording was only a part of my presentation that was a demo. I want to create a hub for that team. So I'm going to add a tab with a Viva Learning app. And in there, I'm going to just add it. Once I add it, I have all of my courses that are going to be relevant for my team because I'm going to choose that. But I also have the opportunity to add that recording of that demo into that hub. I'm going to choose bring your own content, and then I'm going to add the URL in there. Once I add it, I'm going to write the description that is, in this case, the Excel demo, Excel Live. And that's it. I'm going to save it, and that is going to allow me to have that demo included in my Viva Learning Hub together with the courses that I'm going to be choosing for my team. Just in 2 seconds, I have sent a notification to my team that I have added that tab that has all the learning courses together with the recordings of our meetings. And the last tip, once we have thought about all the things that we can do to have a more effective meeting, what else can we do? We need to have something to understand our patterns and the things that we can improve. Well, let me show you what you can do in Viva Insights, another application in Teams. If you have it already pinned on the left-hand rail, you just click in there and go to the productivity section. In there, you're going to have the meeting habits. What is that? Our patterns in meetings. Meetings that you organize and you have been invited to. So you are going to be able to see if you are multitasking in meetings or if you arrive on time or finish on time your meetings. You're going to be able to analyze those patterns and then to make decisions. That is going to be a nice roundup of how to finish those tips so you know what else you can do. And with that, I hope this has been useful, and I'm going to pass it over to you, Joe.
Thanks, Elena. Yeah, that is really interesting. I always think I know most of these tips, but there's always something new when one of my colleagues takes me through it. So lots of great resources, Because we're using PowerPoint Live, you get to click on the link. So if you want to click through those and bookmark them now, that would be awesome. Next week is do more with less workflow in teams, where the amazing Stuart Rideout's going to be taking us through workflows. But loads of great stuff coming up. We'd love to know what you would like to see more of. So if you fill in the survey form there and just let us know what you want to see in the future, that would be awesome. Well, that's it from us this week. Thank you so much for spending 20 minutes with us. We hope to see you next week. Please do tell your colleagues. Thanks, everybody. Take care.